Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have a senior offensive line and defensive lineman, Mason Phuong. Mason, it's great to have you on.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, good morning it is. It's 9 o'clock right now, 9:03 to be exact. But, it's great to be able to have you on under the circumstances that we're in right now. Last night, news came about, and there was actually rumors the night prior about the season being canceled, being paused, however you want to classify it. But the news became official yesterday. DPH, the CIEC, said there will not be any football, at least in 2020. I've heard rumors about the spring potentially, but again, it's just, first off, I just want to ask you, how are you dealing with what transpired throughout the months and then what led to yesterday?
Well, throughout the months, it's been a game, like a ride. They say, oh, we might have a season, then the next day, we might not. And then that's what got to us because we wasn't sure if we were going to have a season, so we all was scared. And then when we found out we didn't have a season, it all came all at us at once. We was all devastated, sad, because all we really want to do is play one last game with our brothers, our teams, And it's sad because we didn't want to end out like this.
As you were working out, because I kind of want to go back a little bit, because I think people who are, will be watching this, I really want them to see what an athlete, particularly a senior like yourself, went through leading up to yesterday. Now, when this first started, did you guys think that there was going to be, I know coaches were anticipating one thing, but as players, when everything first started to transpire and, you guys were able to at least work out and such in the beginning, did you guys think there was going to be a football season?
Yeah, when we all had practices or either working out, we all thought we was going to have a season because, we was all going nice and ready. We all had listened protocol. We all, we all worked out in different groups and stuff. So we thought it would work out. And then once they said we stopped having practices and stuff, we wasn't sure if we were going to have a season, which we all prayed, hoped we would have.
Now, the DPH said that they wanted to, both DPH and the CIAC mentioned having to keep the numbers down. They always mentioned about the cases and following protocol. And to the credit of your team and every other team in Connecticut and the coaches as well, you guys kept the numbers low because during the summer, the cases did not spike. And from what, I talked to Coach Thierry quite a bit during the summer, other coaches as well. It seemed like players were abiding by protocol, making sure they were doing social distancing, that they were washing their hands, wearing a mask. I mean, I saw some video of you guys during your workouts before everything was shut down. It seemed like everybody was following protocol. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. We all was, had to keep our guards. And again, we couldn't even switch up our groups or anything. We all had to stay in one group and all had masks, everything. We all listened. Even if we didn't, we'd get yelled at for not wearing a mask or staying distance. Because we all wanted a season, so we all had to listen to the protocols and,
Now, was the player, did the players kind of keep, because I know you mentioned how you'd get yelled at, was it the coaches that would, lay the discipline, or was it the players itself, like you being a senior, were you the one saying, hey, don't be switching. We got to stay in protocol. We have to do this because if you want a football season, whoever the player you were talking to, if you did that, we have to stay to what we're doing. The end means is much more than what we're seeing right now.
Yes, it was the coaches yelling at us and also us players, especially seniors, since we won the season.
Mm-hmm.
And got team leaders who, we all try to keep our team intact and tell them to discipline and all that stuff so we could have a season.
And as you were going through the workouts and then you start hearing rumors about the first time when there was going to be a pause, what was it like in the locker room?
When we first heard about the pause, we figured okay, it's a little break. We'll get back to it soon once everything goes fine or goes well. But as the pause started taking longer and longer, we figured, well, what's going on? We was confused at first because at first it was supposed to be about 2 weeks, and then they moved it longer. So we wasn't sure. We were scared. And then once we heard that there was going to be no season, then we was on shock because we really thought we was going to have a season.
And how, because I think because going through, obviously when you start, stop, there's going to come a point where it's like, why should I put in this effort if I know that it could just be paused again, or it could be canceled by tomorrow or next week? So, specifically for you, how was the training? Because I'm sure there were times where you were like, why am I going to do this extra bench press or this extra squat when it could be for nothing? Like, how did you deal with that?
Well, I didn't really think of that way, but whenever whenever I worked out, I was like, if we had no season, then I'd still have to like get in shape and all that for maybe college, or because like every day I've been going or working out, going to the gym, and sometimes we get some of our teammates and stuff go to the field, get some extra work in, and try to get in shape as possible in case if we did have a season, which we thought we would. But now that I see it, it's like we're not sure if we're gonna have a season. But that's not gonna stop us from still working out, grinding for maybe the next season or something else.
See, the college part is something I want to get to in a little bit because not having a football season really affects the seniors of this year trying to be able to get opportunities to be able to play at the next level because, as we all know, colleges want to see as much film as possible. And we'll get to that in just a little bit. But I want to go back to what you said about working out with your teammates. During that time, how was their mental approach? Because I know the big thing, and I think a lot of people, in my opinion, and I don't know if you saw a lot of the tweets that I had the last couple of weeks, but I was really pushing the mental aspect, the psychological side, because I think we were, as the media, we're kind of losing sight about certain issues. And I think that was one of them. And during the pause, I felt like we really didn't talk about that because a player like yourself and others who don't have a sport that they've worked their whole life for and have an opportunity to be able to play at the next level, that damages the mental aspect. And I guess the question I have for you is how were your teammates as far as their psychological minds?
My teammates, well, like again, it hurt us, like even not just the seniors, the juniors and sophomores and freshmen, because we all thought we'd have like a great season this year, maybe like a better record than last year, definitely like win more games, have more like chemistry with our teammates and stuff, maybe make new plays and all that. So, our team and stuff, we went through a lot. But like Coach T, he always said we could overcome adversity, which we always have. So to us, it was like a minor pushback before a major comeback. So we always thought we'd come back harder every time.
And
Always,
Coach Thierry's going to fight. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Coach Thierry, I just want to put this in. He's going to fight. We mentioned before we started this interview, he's fighting for Danbury. He's fighting for Stanford. He's fighting for Waterbury. I don't know how he has time, man, to be on his phone with a family, but he is always putting stuff out there for support of you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate him so much. And he changed the program and changed all of Connecticut because without him, you wouldn't even be here.
And we'll get to Coach Thierry in just 1 second. I just want to hit another topic, which is the fact that you guys were under a shutdown by the mayor of Danbury for 2 weeks because there was a spike in cases. So while everybody else was practicing in their cohorts and whatnot and preparing for, at the time, for what people thought, at least within the game, that there was going to be a season, you guys were kind of like, I don't know if you ever watched SpongeBob, but where Squidward's in his house watching Patrick and SpongeBob outside and he's inside like, I wish I could go out there. That's kind of how you guys were. But now
Yeah.
when the news came about, I guess the question I have for you is, because you guys didn't really get to do much, and you guys were more worried about, hey, we just want to get out there, and now the season's not going to happen. What was it like? Because I'm sure you were in a lot of texts with coaches and players when the news came about yesterday.
Yeah, our teammates, we all talked to each other, and we seen like other schools, like say Darien had practices, and we had them in our conference. We was going to play them as well, so we was confused on why Danbury wasn't able to like practice, because we did before, and then it went fine. It went all well, and then you see other teams practice where we're confused, and then either other states as well, they who have larger cases and higher risks, but us, Connecticut being one of the lowest, like we think of it like why aren't we playing, stuff like that. So it really like changed our mentality, our minds, but we still try to get that work in and workouts and stuff like that. Even on Zoom, we had to work out on Zoom because coach set them up, and then try to stay in shape as possible.
As student athletes, I mean, I think realistically, I think I was texting a coach yesterday and I said, it's very admirable the way you guys are handling this, because when I was your age, very immature, probably would not be handling it the way you guys are. And I think a lot of people, if there's any sort of silver lining to this, I think it's made you guys kind of mature quicker than maybe you wanted to, but it will help you in the long run if the adults like myself and others can help you along the way, just to try to, tie up some knots at the end. But the question I have for you is, with dealing with this kind of, do you think it's helped you as far as your mental side and your maturity as well?
Yes, it definitely has. We've been taught to fight for whatever we believe in, and so we believe that we should have a season. So we was taught to fight and keep fighting, because we will never back down from a fight. That's who we are. We like, even if we lose, we won't go down without a fight, because this is what we desire. This is all we wanted.
In that fight, you guys want answers. I think each and every player, just looking at, I didn't even have to go past 5 tweets before I saw, you know, every football player in Connecticut asking a question, and that's all they were asking. It wasn't disrespect. I didn't see any cuss words or nothing. It was just, why aren't we playing? Why is this state playing, but we are not? Why did it take so long to make a decision when, again, I kind of was on the mindset of, if they were going to make this decision, because this virus was not going to go away, as you know, and everyone else, it's going to be here for a while. So if this decision all along, because the DPH was not going to change, 7-on-7 was not going to happen, at least not in Connecticut. So if this decision was going to be made, why wasn't it made months ago, so that maybe as seniors and juniors, maybe something could have been made, like a combine or just something, so that in that way you guys could get film out and do interviews, just stuff to be able to have, at least make something productive. That's my question. I can only imagine what questions you guys have.
Yeah, Coach Terry, he brought up in a tweet that, say we do have 7-on-7 in the fall, in the fall, and then maybe 11-on-11 in the spring, because I've heard someone brought up how having 7-on-7, but a lot of us don't just want to play 7-on-7, because me as a lineman and stuff, we feel left out if they only had 7-on-7, and football isn't football without the Hogs. Like, we're definitely underrated or underestimated, down there, but we're never looked at. But how can you play football without the Hogs? So Coach T was thinking, say they do have 7-on-7 in the fall, maybe, like a lineman camp or something like that. While there's 7-on-7, and then in the fall or by springtime, we all could get back together and have 11-on-11 full games and continue what we had in the fall.
There has to be a solution to something. I've always believed, and some people tell me I'm wrong, and that's fine. I think there's always a solution to everything.
Yeah.
Even if it's, you could say, the wrong solution, it's better than what the previous idea or previous solution was before. And I think Coach Thierry, and I saw that tweet as well, I think he makes a valid point. The only question I have about the spring is that we by, at least as Connecticut, we have the best numbers, I think, in the entire country. So considering what we're hearing about the winter and spikes just because it's the cold and the flu season, my only concern about the spring is that are the numbers going to be too high? Because if the numbers are basically, you could say, almost close to perfect. So if the numbers even spike, then I think the problem is going to be then why didn't we play in the fall if we're going to play in the spring? You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I'm not disregarding Coach Tier. I think he's a great guy, but that's always been my question about playing in the spring because we're basically close to perfect. So then why would we play if we're not going to be that good in the spring? You know what I'm saying?
yeah. That's the only cases if we play in the spring is only because we can't play in the fall. But it'll definitely be hard playing in the spring, especially since we have guys playing multiple sports. We have a lot of multi-sport athletes, such as we have baseball and then lacrosse and all those other sports. So it'll be hard to mix it in. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but we're fighting to play in fall. But as a plan B, if we have to play in spring, we would. But as of right now, we want to play in the fall. But we just want to play football in general.
Now, it will be difficult, though, to play in the spring, not just because of what I brought up, but because the CIAC already said if there is no football in 2020 as far as the fall is concerned, there will not be a season in 2021, at least for the spring. So if they're going, people are going to have to convince them otherwise because they already have that in print. And a lot of people said, and even I was kind of saying in the back of my mind, like, they kind of jumped the gun a little bit too early with that. They could have maybe have waited. But now since it's already in print, if they were to go back on their word, they have egg in their face. They already have plenty of egg in their face already.
Yeah,
So again, it's just another obstacle. And for the coaches and the players like yourself, you guys have been dragged through the mud for well long enough. And I think yesterday getting the answers that you did, I think it's in some ways settling because now you finally got an answer. But at the same time, it's all the crap that you dealt with for the last couple months, going through the workouts, going through the training, preparing, being told, just keep the numbers down, you'll be good. Just, make sure you get through the workouts, you listen to the protocols, and you'll be able to play. And not being able to, I really do feel for you guys. I really do.
yeah, it's tough like times like these because we just we keep fighting, and then us us athletes, we don't really have a say in what we can do. And I appreciate coaches and stuff and staff all around Connecticut trying to help us because not only we have a voice, but coaches have voices. Adults, parents. That's why we're all fighting to have a season. Especially just one last season for our seniors because just want to play one last game.
Coaches just want to coach one last game. Coach Thierry's been with you guys for a while. There's so many other coaches who've been around the senior class and have seen them grow from freshman to senior and want, even if they're not going to play at college. And I think some people kind of lose sight of that, where they think, oh, these coaches just want to send a couple kids to college. They don't care about the rest of the seniors. No, because I think that's a flat out lie. They care about each and every one of those players. And even if they don't go to college, these seniors will probably, if they're not playing college, they're never going to play football again unless it's just for fun. So the coaches want to send these guys off, these young men, no matter if it's a win or a loss or indifferent. They just want to send them off the right way and enjoy what they've loved and played for the last 3, 4, 5, 6, however many years playing football.
Yeah, because if we don't have a season, say if we, grow up having family and kids and all, like you're gonna tell your kids you didn't have a season, and like you can't have your last first game, your last homecoming, your last game, so it really hurts, and especially since say as I'm a senior, you know, after junior year I definitely worked out harder, try to get like put up more weight and like in a weight room and stuff like that, but all that working out for not having a senior year really hurt because we've all looked forward into our senior years. And, even the juniors coming, or the juniors, they, we all wanted to like make it playoffs, but we can't if you don't have a season.
No, and if you don't have a season, looking at you specifically, I mean, you just said you worked out as hard as you probably ever did in the off season at the end of your junior year, going into your senior year. And for guys, I mean, I've always said this virus doesn't affect the top prospects because they're going to get looks because they have plenty of tape. They've kind of popped from when they were like 10. But guys like yourself and others who maybe did not pop right away, but worked, was able to, because not everybody can pop like that. It takes time for a good majority of people. But for all the work that you did and not being able to get that opportunity for colleges to see the film, I think that's the part that, the DPH and the CIAC kind of lost sight of. And I don't know if they have an idea or a plan as far as, not so much a concern for the DPH because they're, on the medical side. But for the CIAC, I hope that now with the decision being made, if it's, stays with it, I hope they can find some way for the seniors in particular, because the juniors we'll get to as well. But for the seniors like yourself and others, have an opportunity to get looks and have a chance to be able to play in college and also get an education, because at the end of the day, that's all that's important as well.
Yeah, because last year, I played um, um, mainly offense. Didn't get as much reps and defense because we had three seniors. Jordan, Kyle, and Ja, which was major key factors on our D line. So senior year, I expected to play more defense and getting more film for colleges. Cause since we have three seniors that left, so we'd fill in the spots, get more film. Make big changes and differences on the field, on and off the field. But since we couldn't have a season, wasn't able to make that impact.
Yeah, I think that, again, it just goes back to, this virus has affected so much. It's taken away. I mean, you think about the summer alone, fairs have been canceled. You think about certain games that have been canceled, even though people, and again, I think, looking at that, you had baseball being played. You had AAU basketball being played. You had all these other sports being played. And it's like, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of just think to myself, if I'm just sitting around, I'm like, why is football not being played, but you have other sports that are? I mean, again, I don't want to compare and say, well, this sport and then you have that sport, but if they're worried about the respiratory droplets that they keep, mentioning about how the virus can spread. I played soccer for all my life until college. I know for a fact that there's a lot of contact in soccer. So I just don't understand how that is considered a low risk sport, but football, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I just think that it's a very sticky line in between.
Yeah, because I think some places, or I know like the youth and stuff, they're starting flag football, and that's good for them because as they're growing, developing, they develop the game more. But as a high schooler or up there, how can you play like a game without half the team? Because like we all make a big difference in the game, and if it's only 7-on-7, you're basically playing catch and tag. We want the contact and all that because that's what brings the whole game together. It's a tradition.
It's a real shame, man. Again, like I said, I really do. I can't say I've been in your shoes or the coach's shoes. I have not. I won't lie and say I have. And I can't even say I kind of feel what you guys are feeling because, again, I do not. I've never been through it, but I can only say, it sucks. And I hope that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. Again, I hope there's something that the CIAC can come up with. If not in the fall, something, I don't know what it could be, but that's why they get paid the big bucks, I guess, right? But Mason, we've just about run out of time, but thank you for being able to come on. I really do appreciate it and being able to share your story and your feelings about what losing your senior year means to you. And I'm sure the rest of the Danbury squad would agree.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. I'll wrap things up in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. And remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. And I'm on a journey to find them all. Have a good one, everybody.